Good morning. Hi, I'm Malcolm Nance, and if you are watching this, then you are here for Black Man Spy U.S. Iran Warcast, day 29 of part 2, and day 164 since the Trump administration and the Netanyahu administration launched a surprise attack on Iran, decapitating the leadership and starting 40 days of continuous bombing. And that war has been on and off the entire time. We are now into day 29 of the second phase of it that had about 20 days of continuous bombing, all of which to no effect. So we're going to go over what's going on in the Middle East and the region now with Jacob Karsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire, maker of the maps, and Wajeeh, the exceedingly gay lion from Minneapolis, Minnesota, because lions need to exceed. So amazing. Not a lot has been going on in the region, which gives us an opportunity to all get our cups of coffee. Because even though I've been up since I slept in today, I slept in till 5 a.m. all the way to 5. And I am still rocking my captured Russian army coffee mug. As you can see there, it says Armiya Rusia. Yeah,
Today I
thanks.
have a Jinil Asfar.
Yeah. Oh, you're at the yellow genie. I got you a Jinil Asfar. Okay. And Jacob is in his Russian warship, go fuck yourself coffee mug, which I love. I have an original set of those stamps when they came out, the first issue. And I haven't framed them yet, but remember when those were like the thing?
You see, this is actually the stamps,
Yeah. Oh, it's
put
the
up.
copy of the stamp. Now, full disclosure, did you know I have a I've said this before on this show, I'm sure. Did you know I have a Ukrainian stamp that was done for the International Legion? It was not
Ooh.
distributed. There are only 12 sets that were printed. One's going to President Zelensky, Budanov, and others, but it's still sitting in the ministry of the postal minister director did this. He sort of liked my what now bitches video with Russia Today, and he made the International Legion stamp. And I have copies of it here. So one day when we do a paid program, I will show you the exceptionally rare. And they are from the ministry of the postal ministry. So I didn't make them up.
Postal
It's amazing.
stamp.
And I still have to go receive the first 10 sets because it's been a couple of years since they did this. Amazing. So, I feel just as good, but not as inspirational as Russian warship Go Fuck Yourself, which was
There
world
hasn't.
class.
So far, I learned that you collect cars, you collect pens, you collect coins, you collect houses, you collect.
Houses? Wait, what? Houses?
Yeah, one big house.
I got, okay.
You
That's a new
collect.
one. I collect wood. I collect going to Lowe's every day to do maintenance and work on this house, But
Watches.
watches. Oh, I don't even have my watches on today. That's weird. So, no, let me
Mashallah,
rephrase.
connoisseur of many tastes. Malcolm
That's what it
Nash,
is.
the Black Man Spy.
I can tell you what I collect as collectible things that I keep around. I do collect Land Rover Defenders. I collect classic Land Rover Defenders. I have here in the United States 3, in Abu Dhabi. If I go to Abu Dhabi soon, I have to get them into a container. I have 3 in Abu Dhabi, but one of them used to belong to Sheikh Maktoum of Dubai, and it cannot be exported. So it literally it's a Defender 90. And if anybody who knows Land Rover Defenders, you have to name them, right? You just can't own them. You have to give them a name. And Defender owners are all like, what's your truck's name? And this one's called Baby Duck because it was all white and it had orange lamps across the top. And my late wife says, looks like a baby duck. So its name is Baby Duck. And everyone in UAE who knows Defenders knows Baby Duck because it used to belong to Sheikh Maktoum. That registration cannot leave the country. So I literally have to, I am not joking, take the car apart, put it on a new chassis and in the United States and get a new, it can use the VIN, but I cannot use the VIN to export that car. So the truck has to be broken down into its component pieces of off-body lift, axles, everything can go except the frame. The frame has to be destroyed.
Trump
And
would
then-
say you don't own it then, you have to own it. Like he says about Greenland. You have to own it.
He says about Greenland. Hey, look, I'm getting fuzzy enough. My beard's getting fuzzy enough for me to return back to Greenland and not freeze. It gets super warm there now. 9 degrees Celsius, right? That's like 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And they're like, woo, it's hot here.
Woo. Yeah, let's
So-
go to the beach.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. Somebody says I collect dust.
I collect dust.
We're all collecting dust here. We're collecting moss on our asses. But yeah, I do collect those Land Rover Defenders, and I had 4 others. And they were sold off. And I actually have one for sale. If anybody needs a Land Rover, my late wife's truck, which is named the Gopher. Because it's got a brown body and a creamy colored top, and it looks like the gopher from Caddyshack doing this little dance. So, but it is a fully restored Defender. So that's what's going on in my world. I do collect fountain pens though, and I collect them to use them though. I don't collect them just to have them, like you. So, and Wajeeh, what do you collect other than your beloved pen collection?
I collect fragrances. I collect bahur. I collect coins. Yes, I'm Arab, so I have to collect. I mean, some people collect wine. Some people collect alcohol. I collect fragranted alcohol or fragranted oils.
I'm going to send you all my Arab fragrances that people gave me as gifts over there.
Don't drink the fragrances. Alcohol, wine, and stuff is better for drinking.
Do you have the fragrance Sheikh? Do you have Sheikh? It's
Which
called
one?
Sheikh. Sheikh. It's only one. I think Armani or somebody did it for the Emiratis, and it's called Sheikh, and it's a silver head. Hold on. I'll look it up for you because there's
That's interesting because yesterday I was about to go buy a fragrance from Creed called Imperial, and they specifically designed it for the previous king of Saudi Arabia, King Faisal.
What? Imperial? Yeah, opulent Sheikh perfumes. They have an entire line. You got to go to sheikh-perfumes.com. Every mall I have ever been into in the Middle East has had big displays of Sheikh, right? You can be Sheikh, and the other one is Sheikha. You can be the Sheikha. All right? All right. Hey, Jacob, some peanut excess says, your hair looks neat. Did you get a haircut?
I did. I needed a quick haircut. Yeah.
You, Naiman.
I don't have that much hair, so it's a quick, it's a quick thing,
1 second, guys. Go ahead. I'm listening.
After you get a haircut, for some reason we say Naiman. Like it's almost like tears, but for a haircut.
Yeah, I mean, I think I went. It's a Syrian guy, just and then.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Syrian already there taking the jobs of the Turks because you're supposed to be getting them Turkish barbers like the one I had in England. They know how to cut black hair. I mean, I'm like, whoa, because some of their hair is sort of hybridish. So they know how to do it, man. And then they give you the big steam mask on your face and they massage your shoulders and give you
wax
Turkish
your ear, wax your nose, wax it.
Yeah. When I got my haircut in England, the guy was like, "Oh, would you like a tea?" And I go, "What kind of Turkish barber shop is this?" I said, "Where's my Turkish medium and Turkish delight?" Your wish is my command. Boom! They miraculously appeared. Turkish medium. You hear him shout, Turkish medium. Ilwa.
That's funny.
And next, here it comes. I'm like, hey, I did a good job on that. So, all right, guys, we've gotten to 1,000 followers. Let's get on with the war, shall we? This is actually one of the slower days because it must be slow before Donald Trump starts threatening things before Friday so that he can pump up the oil markets. Or right now, him and his buddies are buying low. And then he threatens them, and then it goes back high, and they can do it. So, on day 29/164 of the war, Oman and Iran are in the final stages of the negotiated settlement on the operation, management, and maintenance of the Strait of Hormuz. That's what the news is out this morning, that the SOH talks are going very well. Now, can I point something out to all of you? These talks are between Oman and Iran.
What?
Okay? And playing
What?
partial or impartial mediator is Pakistan. But did you notice the United States is not involved in this at all?
At all?
Somehow, every time I turn on the New York Times and the Washington Post and all the rest of these, they're talking about the U.S. talks with Iran. Has anybody informed the White House that
they were supposed to be concluded last Wednesday? So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Scott Bessent told me
that was what
twice.
we heard last Monday and Tuesday repeatedly. So, yeah.
Like somebody just wrote, ain't got shit to do with Trump. Right? So it's a mean trick.
People no longer believe any statement that comes out of the White House at the moment. Just period.
Well, the foreign minister of Qatar this morning said the talks are in their quote unquote advanced stages and that they have received positive feedback from both sides. The Qataris, the Omanis, the Pakistanis are mediating with the Iranians, but it is a bilateral negotiation. Here's one lateral, here's the bilateral. It goes both ways. So that's Iran and Oman. And that's who the deal will be concluded with. And a key component of this negotiation is that it will formalize the routes to go in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. It will formalize the management fee structure and what it will be used for and how they will get paid. And then they will also talk to the long term about clearing out unexploded ordnance and lifting the blockade. This is not only intrinsic for the Iranians, but it is for freedom of navigation. Yes, Jacob.
Which is point 5 of the MOU.
The original MOU.
The original MOU that Trump tore up. And it will mean absolutely nothing until the blockade of the Iranian ports is removed.
Yeah.
So for the Iranians, they will use it to put pressure on the Trump administration to lift the blockade.
Mm-hmm. And whether the Trump administration does that is an entirely different matter. So
who knows?
We shall see. What's that?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Allahu
A'lam. Allah, you hear what he just said? Only Allah knows. Allah is all-knowing. Allah ya'alam. Right?
Exactly.
From measure 3, verb 2, to know, to be aware of or to be educated. Okay, so that is what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. Now, question. Project 30 days. Is this going to happen? Jacob.
Trump? Well, not really. They'll try to do some workarounds. They'll try to get ships through the strait. and then the Iranians will attack them, and then we'll go round and round in circles, I assume.
So
I
you think
believe
we're going to go back to the
That's the most likely,
the titty for tatty,
Yeah.
back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wajeeh, what do you think?
I believe the situation is not going to improve anytime soon. Iran has announced that if the Strait of Hormuz were to open, the United States would need to come back to the original MOU and pay some retributions for breaking the original MOU. As of 40 minutes ago, according to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. forces reportedly fired upon a Panama flagship container in the port of Oman. That Not port of Oman, and the Strait of Oman, uh, or the Omani
The Sea of
Gulf,
Oman.
the Sea of Oman,
Khalij. It's Khalij.
Khalid al Oman.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Omani Sea. Yeah.
the Americans are escalating. The Iranians have announced what they want. Omanis cannot deliver on the Iranian demands, specifically when it comes to the United States, because Oman has no control over Trump. And to me, this just seems like another step from the Iranians to keep stalling, because their weapon is time. Their weapon is the Strait of Hormuz with time. The longer they keep doing this, especially the election is coming up, they really believe this is their strategy right now, is fucking up Trump's election.
You know, as much as I disagree with Larry Johnson, CIA analyst, ex-CIA analyst on Mario Nawafal's show about Ukraine and Russia, I've said this before. People I would never have agreed with on anything. Mearsheimer, that idiot Kiriakou, even the pedophile Scott Ritter, all these guys, everyone is unified on Iran. Right? That we're getting our asses handed to us, and that we're not. We've lost it. God Almighty!
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay, okay, that's enough. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me. You're gonna tell me.
I'm on agree with us. Then it tells you all about how crazy it is.
Next thing you're gonna say is I'm on the same page as Candace Owens. Holy cow! The world has gone topsy. The world is upside down, as they say in Hamilton. But the reason I mentioned Larry Johnson, I'm going to give him his props. All right, he sucks on Ukraine because he just doesn't know anything about it. But yesterday, he made a brilliant statement. He said Iran has a weapon that is more lethal and more powerful than anything they have, including the potential of an atomic bomb. And, he lets it hang there. And then he goes, the calendar. I was like, damn, he's right. He's right. Where the guy is right, give him his props, right? The calendar is Trump's greatest enemy and Iran's greatest weapon. But I think also Trump, as reported by Maggie Haberman, doesn't particularly care about the calendar anymore. I don't think, except every once in a while, he talks like, the global economy is going to break. Then he bounces back to let's attack him.
But
I
that's how
I
he's
think he thinks
playing
it's
to the
fake.
Iranian hands.
Well, Iran is having another cup of tea.
Imagine this. I have a strategy, and the strategy is to lure you in. And you're like, oh, I don't care. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna let you lure me in. I'm gonna come to the den, thinking like you're James Bond or something, that you're gonna shoot everyone while you're gonna be in the middle of there, and you're gonna be slick enough to get the hell out. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't understand chess. You don't understand war. You don't understand negotiation. You don't understand diplomacy. You don't understand the Middle East. You don't understand the military. And yet, mashallah, tabarakallah, you are wise enough to be like, oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, I don't care about time. Motherfucker, the Iranians are telling you we control the strait and we're using it. against you to win the election and to win the global economy and to win this war. You're like, I don't care. Like, this is why you're losing. Oh, I don't care.
Because I'm winning.
Oh,
Yeah. Gives you
what
brain
what
freeze.
what exactly are we winning? Are we winning?
Yeah. But
Is there a
in
prize
Trump's,
on?
I'm
Is there a
so
prize
tired
under
of
my
winning.
seat?
I am
Trump's
so tired of
cookie.
winning. I wish we are losing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's an Oprah-like surprise. I saw a video yesterday that was a mock-up, an AI video of Trump and his staff, and it was done like Downfall, right? It was in the bunker, but it wasn't with Hitler. It was Trump and all his guys, right? And they're all telling him, "Oh," he said, "the only strategy we think we can get away with, Mr. President, is let's tell everyone we've won the war." And he goes, "MAGA will believe it, and that's all that matters." He only speaking to MAGA, people that he says they'll believe anything that I tell them to. And second to that, there was another video that I stumbled across yesterday of a black comedian who said, he says, whatever you do in life, marry someone that loves you so much, as deeply as MAGA loves Donald Trump. Right? Get yourself a wife who, when you go, she catches you in the bedroom with some other woman. You go, there ain't no woman in this bedroom. She's like, oh, yeah, you're right, honey. That's a lumpy pillow. Yeah, that is.
Uh,
This is a joke. It is a blind ass cult, right? My
yeah.
good friend, who was a cult expert, Stephen Hassan, when I was working back with him on ISIS and Al Qaeda as iterations of Islamic cults in Islamic history, he wrote the book, The Cult of Trump, and that it is not just I like his policies. They
Mhm.
don't care about his policies. They see him as their personal avatar and savior of the
That's
tribe.
that's why I keep telling people when you talk to mega people, as someone that who grew up in a cult, like you got to talk to them as if you're a missionary. Why do I say they use the word missionary? Because they are trained specifically for a few things. Pick up the words that the other party uses,
Mhm.
like
The
so if you
jargon.
the jargon, whatever jargon the other side uses, you start using the same ones. Whatever they throw as offended, like if you go to any missionary and you're like, I criticize this about your religion, I criticize this about your God, you don't see them getting offended at all. They smile back at you. They say, I understand. And let me talk to you about this. Let me talk to you about that. And they get into it without getting offended about everything. Because by the end of the day, they understand this person is in a cult. I'm
Mhm.
in maybe similar situation. What matters here is exchange of ideas to the point where this person on the other side doesn't see me as a threat and sees me as someone to talk to one to the another. As soon as you can start attacking anyone in a cult, you're automatically labeled as an enemy. So when you talk to people who are under the MAGA cult and you start realizing the people that have come out of it, they're like, oh my God, you have no clue. We were just so blinded for everything because we lived in a bubble. And that's exactly the society I grew up in and for a long time. So I understand how that works. And when anyone came to me and started criticizing my faith or anything in my belief, that person was automatically labeled as an enemy. And therefore, anything that came to me my way was easily thrown into the trash because why should I listen to your opinion? Your opinion
You know,
doesn't matter at that point. So people
someone
really need to like rethink how they talk to the MAGA cult because you need to once you recognize they're a part of cult, you need to talk to them as a member of cult.
we discussed this in my books, An End to Al Qaeda and Defeating ISIS, which were about counter ideology warfare. And something that the George W. Bush administration would not pick up, where we kept saying, hey, you got to go after their Islam. And you can't do it as Americans. Americans can't go out to ISIS and say, your Islam's wrong. Now, we tried to get the Saudis to do it. And the Saudis explained this very clearly. I actually spoke to a Saudi scholar, and he said, you cannot, in Islam, tell another Muslim he's not a Muslim, right? What you can do is you can make him doubt that he's doing it correctly, right? And so when they did that Saudi rehabilitation program on Al-Qaeda and ISIS members, that was exceptionally heavily religious, because Al-Qaeda and ISIS led themselves to believe they were better Muslims than Muslims, and that only their version of Islam was correct, and everyone else became an immediate apostate, which gave them the right to execute you, which, by the way, is anti-Islamic. No Muslim can declare another person an apostate, right? Only Allah, only God can make these judgments. And so they would start the conversation off by saying, do you pray 5 times a day? And the guy would say, yes, ayasalli, right? I pray. And he says, do you give zakat? Do you give charity? Yes, I give zakat, right? Do you fast during Ramadan? Do you do Psalm? Yes, I do Psalm. Do you go on Hajj? Do you attempt to do Hajj or Umrah? And he says, yes, mashallah, I get to do that. What am I missing? Psalm, zakat.
I mean,
I'm missing one.
it has been quite flexible in Islam whenever it fits a political leader opinion to go and do a mass exodus or mass execution, calling a whole bunch of people infidels, like the Saudis did with the Ikhwan, Atallah, which you guys call the Muslim Brotherhood for some reason, which are different than the Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt. The Saudis, believe it or not, according to some estimates, assassinated or killed around 200 to 400,000 people in the uniting of the Arabian Peninsula, out of 3 to 5 million people population at that time. So, and the excuse was that our Wahhabist, Salafist ideology of Islamic Sunni belief is the only correct ideology, and anyone that is not following this is an infidel. So they have been getting that far.
But this is where the other 5 cults in Islam came from, that they were better than the best of them, and anyone that wasn't like that. The Khawarij, right? The Khawarij, the Prophet Muhammad himself, peace be upon him, actually predicted that there would be a group during his lifetime, and he said they would be young men who would pray the hardest, serve the best, right? And they would be the most devout of all Muslims, but at one point they will leave Islam like an arrow leaves the bow. Given an opportunity. They were the first cult that actually broke Islam into Shia and Sunnah. By killing Khalif Ali. These guys, the Khawarij. When Al-Qaeda and ISIS came back, the Saudis started referring to them as the Khawarij, which means the outsiders. Then there was the Karamita. The Karamita was such a crazy cult. They believed that any pilgrimage to Mecca was idolatry, because, when you go to Mecca, you pray at the Kaaba, and the Kaaba, inside the Kaaba, is a meteorite inside there. And so they started massacring thousands of people on Mecca pilgrimage caravans. And then you had what do you got? The guys in Khartoum. What's his name? The uprising in the late 1800s. The Mahdi. Yeah, his name will come to me. I wrote a whole book about this. Anyway, these guys at the time that the British Imperials were occupying no, you're thinking of Uteba. But these guys, the Mahdis, was a black guy. Black as the ace of spades. And the Quran says that the guy who would return to earth to usher in the return of Jesus, the Mahdi, would be light-skinned, come from the Quraysh tribe of Mecca, would have a mole on his cheek, and these guys convinced themselves that it was them, then did an uprising against the British, wiped out the British garrison in Khartoum, including the General Gordon, head decapitated, and they were wiped out only when the British reinvaded, bringing Winston Churchill, and beat them at the Battle of Omdurman outside of Khartoum. That was the third cult in Islam. Then the last two cults came in the modern period. The
They were
Utaybis,
led
who
by
seized the
Muhammad
Grand Mosque
Ahmad.
of Mecca. Muhammad Ahmad.
Yes. And in 1800s, the
1890 something.
1881 to 1899.
There you go. Yeah, they got wiped out. And then the pre-Al Qaeda group called the Utaybis that seized the Grand Mosque in Mecca in 1979. They were nutty buddies. And they used to have like wild hair because they were part of the group of people that believe you shouldn't ever cut your hair. You have to grow your hair and your beard like the Prophet Muhammad's immediate companions. They seized the Grand Mosque in Mecca and caused hundreds of people to die, and forced the French to be brought in to drop nerve gas into the tunnels of Mecca. The survivors of that group created Al Qaeda
Yes.
and ISIS. I mean, there have been some cults out there. So I know we sort of got off market there. Jacob is grooving into the discussion. Let's go on to what else is going on, because we could talk about crazy cults, MAGA, the Utaybis, Al Qaeda, ISIS, and a lot of them have similarities. Taliban, what's that crazy?
Students.
Om Shinrikyo in Japan. They're all crazy. All right. In the Bab el-Mandab waterway, now that the Strait of Hormuz, by the way, at that 11-mile oil slick in the Strait of Hormuz from an Iranian attack on a tanker, which set fire. And we did learn this. There have been now 3 attacks on Abu Dhabi National Oil Company tankers that the British Maritime Trade Organization has not reported. And I mean direct hits by missiles. So apparently UKMTO is not reporting all the attacks that are going on, only the ones that are reported to them. And the Emiratis do not want people to know that these attacks are happening.
Well, there's laws and regulations, even criminalizing anyone filming these attacks and publishing them as well.
Very true. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a pass if I head over there. The Bab el-Mandab waterway off Yemen, the Houthis struck a tanker off of the port of Mocha. And as you know, somebody said Mocha Djibouti's our stripper name here on this show.
Oh,
and somebody earlier put it out there that Mocha is the port that they took from the Houthis. The Houthis want it back, and now they're punishing everybody around Mocha. 3rd day of attacks off Mocha. That attack killed 2 Pakistani seamen and an Indonesian seaman aboard that ship. Direct hit by an anti-ship missile off of Yemen, which should do amazing things to oil prices today, because that place is now not going to be opening anything. The Yemenis are continuing their attacks against the central government as well. I want to show you an image that I got online. The Yemenis and the Iranian buddies are not just being satisfied with carrying out ballistic missile attacks, drone attacks, and all these things. They are also carrying out a campaign of assassinations. Now, this is where the IRGC is getting involved. These are places where individuals have been attacked. In the red sector is the government-backed, Saudi-backed government terrain of the TNC, right? The Transitional National Council that runs most of Yemen. The green is the Houthi-landia. That's where the Houthis live, and it's amongst the most mountainous parts of all of Yemen. But the Houthis have been carrying out an assassination campaign. And yesterday, they attempted to assassinate. This is where you know Iranian intelligence is involved. The guy that they tried to assassinate was a brigadier general who was commander of the 2nd Marine Infantry Brigade there. And they tried to bop his ass personal, right? Exploding a device near him, almost killing him. That takes a lot of intelligence, human intelligence.
Yeah.
The guy who delivers his paper, who sends him his croissants, whatever it is, right? The guy who brings his cot over for him to chew. Yeah, that guy's reporting to the IRGC, and the IRGC is sending drones, bombers, and other devices to your front door. So Yemen is getting hotter and hotter. Fighting continues throughout the country. The Houthis themselves are now bringing that fight down to the central government. Any comments?
Yeah,
Go for it.
It's a big plan, to keep this going, and for the Iranians to, to avoid coming under too much pressure, and saying there's also this going on in Yemen and with Saudi Arabia. So, we need peace on all fronts before we stop. And that's also what they are relaying in the indirect talks with the Americans. So yeah, it'll keep going.
Well, the Iranians can say what they want. Now, the activity, well, I'm going to give you 2 short ones, and then we're going to go to, remember how I said in this show, you are getting consistent reports within a region that the activities are relatively predictable. You know what's going to happen. You know the Houthis are going to do this. You know the Iranians are going to do that. You know the Iraqis will respond this way. What are we constantly looking out for? Outliers, right? The drone attack on Egypt, outlier. Okay. So when you sit up in your chair and you see the Al Jazeera report, or you read the report on the read board that something has happened that is nowhere near the norm, that's where you go and you go, what the fuck? That's an outlier. That's when you should sit up in your chair, press the button on the coffee machine, get another coffee, and start looking deeper into what is happening in that region. So I'm going to give you 2 regular things, and then we're going to go to a section. I should actually start a new section of this show called Outliers, because weird ass shit is starting to pop up everywhere. So don't drop out. And there are some things that are coming. First, Lebanon. What am I going to say about Lebanon? Somebody tell me what I would normally say about Lebanon for me to mention it on the show. Anybody?
Israel struck again.
Jacob, do you agree?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just seeing something here. Just a sec.
Wasn't an outlier?
Move on.
No, it's not a move on. I'm asking you your opinion.
No. I just had a phone call coming in, so I was trying to.
Oh, yeah, taking calls. Yes.
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to see if they were sending me a message as well.
I know. Yes, Mrs. Prime Minister. I can get right on that. That's Jacob. You are a big frog in a very, very little pond there in Denmark. So interesting enough when they say, "Get me Abu Viking." That's
Abu Viking, that's right.
The government turns too. They were like, "Abu Viking, we need you." So first, okay, so Lebanon, Israel carried out a series of attacks in southern Lebanon, which are in violation of the April 9th treaty, which was supposed to assist the MOU transition, and it's essentially Benjamin Netanyahu flipping the bird at Donald Trump again. Attacks were carried out by artillery and airstrikes yesterday in southern Lebanon, and the Israelis say, we have the right to defend ourselves, which is true. And we knew they were going to do it, especially when they do it with artillery and airstrikes. You know, that old story about when they had a ceasefire with the Syrian army, a sleeping Syrian army soldier's rifle could go off accidentally, and it would unleash a 24-hour artillery barrage from 300 guns. So that's how the Israelis do it.
Yeah.
Next, here's some interesting statistics I think you guys should
Which
know.
also,
Remember how the
Malcolm,
Lebanese...
which also tells you why, as I said before, the Iranians, want to keep everything simmering. Because, they want to put more pressure on the US to also put pressure on the Israelis, etc., etc.
Very true. Interesting fact. Did you know the Lebanese army, which is supposed to be filling in these positions for the Israelis, is 50% Shia Muslim?
No, I didn't know that.
I was reading an in-depth analysis of the Lebanese army, and I did not know the LAF, the laugh.
No,
get your laughs
neither did
here.
I.
The laugh is 50% Shia. So that is interesting. Next,
And it's not
here is
LAUGH, it's LAF.
LAF. I have one day I will go down to my skiff. I will bring out and wear my 1983 vintage Lebanese Army t-shirt that I got from the Lebanese Armed Forces back then. I got my brass plate in my thing right up over there. My
I have the
multinational
official
force t-shirt.
I have the official 3-name title for Jacob in Arabic.
Ooh, what's that?
What's that?
Yaqub bin Viking al Denmark.
Al Denmarki. Because we've seen at least 3 Al Qaeda guys whose last names were Al Denmarki.
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah.
I've been after them.
Is one of them Morton Storm?
No.
Oh.
I know nothing about that.
Morton, I've met Morton because he was a fixture at the Spy Museum when his book came out. And this was the Danish guy.
Yemen.
Yes, he was. Well, he was a CIA fixture in Yemen. I thought he was part of your assets, too. Morton Storm is a Danish guy that got very close to Anwar al-Awlaki, the American that was leading Al-Qaeda of the Arabian Peninsula.
America had Morton to pass a law to assassinate Anwar al-Awlaki because he's a U.S. citizen.
They had to remove his citizenship. Because, well, first off, motherfucker was killing people everywhere. Okay, let's get some things on the table. I get these guys out there who be like, you guys killed an American citizen in Yemen with a missile. It's like, yeah, we did.
He was a legit, a legit very bad guy.
We say this, he earned that missile. Okay,
and they go, what about terrorist?
What about his 15-year-old son? Don't be getting into a car with an AK-47 in Yemen, right? Don't be.
Everyone has an AK-47 in Yemen.
Not these guys. These guys were Abu Erhab. Okay, they was father of the terrorism down there in Yemen. Thinking he was all slick that American laws are going to protect his ass. Some people need to die. Or actually, I'm trying to remember who the guy was. Who said to me, some people must be destroyed, not killed, destroyed, right? Vaporized. Another one of our guys, another al-Amriki was Abu Yahya al-Amriki. Remember that motherfucker? Abu Yahya al-Amriki his real name was Adam Gaddam. And true story, I was on a flight from Abu Dhabi nonstop to New York City. And there was a white American Muslim guy on there. And my I know you alarm went off. And it went off so hard that I asked one of the stewardesses, this Etihad was really new, and they didn't have Wi-Fi in the rear cabin yet, in the main cabin, but they had it in business. And I said, hey, this is urgent. I need to use the Wi-Fi. And I went in there and I brought up Adam Gaddam's photo. And this guy had like blonde beard, and Adam Gaddam was brown haired. Adam Gaddam was a half Jewish kid from Long Beach, California, flew to Yemen, went to learn Arabic, right?
Which you
Which is the
usually do when you want to join a dubious organization.
this is
Right.
this pathway is what we used to call in my world JTJ. These guys were JTJ. They were joining the jihad. And so Adam Gaddam goes there and then becomes a key member of Al Qaeda, flies to Afghanistan. They trust him. He helps plot attacks all over the world. So I'm on this flight from Abu Dhabi. I see this guy and I'm like, that motherfucker looks like Adam Gaddam. No, but I said, he wouldn't be stupid enough to come back as a Muslim. He would have shaved his face. You know, this guy was wearing a Hajj cap, right? So I'm sitting there and minding my own business. We land in New York City. This is one of the first Etihad flights from Abu Dhabi to New York. Plane was empty. And we land, and then you get the announcement. Will all passengers remain in your seats? And I was like, yo, suck it now. Here it comes. Here it comes. And then they say, okay, passengers from row blah, blah, blah to blah, blah, blah can deplane. And it said, please have your passports. So I was in premium economy, so I got up and deplaned. I turned there's the customs guy with a little table checking passports. Now, I've flown my entire life, right? Decades, and I have never seen a jetway passport check. Okay, never. And so we go, I turn the corner. There's the fucking SWAT team. They thought Adam Gaddam was showing up too. They were fucking heavy. And I was done. There were 6 guys there ready to turn that corner and zip tie that motherfucker. And they escorted him off the plane, took him down the jetway, had a vehicle waiting for him. I don't know who he was. It was not Adam Gaddam. Adam Gaddam ate his own missile. And actually, I don't think it was a missile. I think they put a JDAM, a 2,000-pound laser-guided bomb on Adam Gaddam when they found him. He was in Asadabad, Pakistan, who had just been cross-border visiting Al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan. And we were like, bloop, lightning bolt from Zeus. And that guy really earned it. So there you go. That's what happened to whoever that guy, Abu Ghair Mafhum al-Amriki, which is Arabic for Abu Unknown the American. So, but also your friend there, Morton Storm, who was the infiltrator into Alawaki's world, he was also known Abu something al-Dinmarki. He was
Didn't
al-Dinmarki.
Al-Awlaqi has a high pitched voice,
Who's this?
especially like Al-Awlaqi.
He did when that missile. He did when that missile hit his ass. Okay, guys. Okay, let's just stop. That was okay. Can we move on? We're at the end of the program, and it is time for our new segment of outliers. I am going to show you
something that's not an outlier that is important.
Oh,
that
bro,
people should know about. This is actually a very normal event. Guess who landed in Baghdad?
Wait, who's this? Who landed in Baghdad?
Guess who visited Baghdad today?
Iran?
Yes, who?
I don't know. Who
visited? Foreign Minister?
Al-Arachi?
The head of Quds. The head of Quds. Ismail Ghani.
Tell us something. Tell us something we don't know.
Definitely not an outlier. But by sheer coincidence, he's just passing by Baghdad. And our listeners might remember, I think it was over the weekend, we talked about the Iranian, different factions in amongst the Shia community there, with especially Kataib Hezbollah and al-Nujaba wanting revenge on Saudi Arabia, and some of the others pushing back, and the head of the Badr organization coming out and saying, hey, take it easy. So that is why Ismail Ghani is in Baghdad today.
This is quite
fun.
big deal. This is a head of the military, one of the head of the military, showing up at the front lines, checking on the militias, even though they're not directly part of the Iranian government. Now, I haven't seen Baba Trump or Patricia Hegseth or Maria Rubio visit any of the warships that have been stationed in the Gulf of Oman or have been to any of the bases in the Middle East checking on our soldiers, especially after these bases have been severely attacked over and over again. This is a shortcoming from our commander in chief. Our soldiers have been in the ocean, some of them for more than 300 days, close to a year now. And this is usually the max 200 days max. 200 days is usually max. And we've gotten to a year, and some of these people are homesick. They deserve to be home. And I don't know what's going on, man.
Well, we'll talk about that some other time. I need to talk to these outliers and get some questions answered. Because you're right, morale of the sailors is very important. I've never done a 240-day float. That's crazy without any port visits whatsoever. That's you going to work, going to eat, going to bed, going to work, going to eat, going to bed over and over again. It's very unhealthy. Okay, I want to show you a video. This video, in case you don't know where it is, this video is actually taken in our outlier country. This is an oil refinery and bunkering facility that if you hadn't heard about it or known about it, you wouldn't. I happen to have been in this facility, which is very small. And believe it or not, I can't figure out why this place was hit when there are bigger, badder, better refineries in the immediate area. But first, a little fire, shall we? This, if you can hear that, this facility is the Azuetina oil bunkering and refinery south of Benghazi in Libya. Someone struck this facility with 4 drones yesterday. Now, it is nowhere near the theater of operations. Nowhere near the theater of operations. And just to make sure you know where this is at, because, well, can you, okay, on your chart, I'm going to show you. Yeah. Correct.
It's here.
Was it Benghazi?
Okay. It's south of Benghazi and Azuetina. Azuetina is on the way down here to Ajdabiya, where I spent a lot of time down in Ajdabiya. Okay, so here we are in Western Libya. Let's do a little geography lesson. I have driven this whole place you see on this map. Boop. Alexandria, Egypt. Jump in your car. Back in the old days, there was only a 2-lane road, and there was nothing between Alexandria and Mersa Matruh to the Gulf of Salem. There was nothing. 2 lanes. And now this down here is New Dubai. It's as big as Dubai. In a place, Al Alamein it's been bought by the Emiratis, and they are building a 16 skyscraper downtown in it. You can't even believe the luxury.
For the Emirati to escape the UAE.
Yeah, and they can go drink Stella beer. So Mersa Matruh, then the Gulf of Salem, you cross the border checkpoint there. You get on the road up here. This is Tobruk. And just past Tobruk, you have a choice. You can go north up to Derna. You see where it says Al Baida. Or you can go on the main bypass road straight down to Ajdabiya, and Azuetina is just up here. The reason that this is significant is this is Azuetina south of Benghazi. There's bunkering in Benghazi. There's bunkering in Tobruk. But down here, I've driven that whole road, y'all. That is a long-ass road to drive to. Down here in this area where you see the words Mersa Brega and Ras Lanoft, down here, this ain't nothing but oil fields. Nothing but oil fields, except in that little gap over there. Raslanuf means the head or the point of oil. Right? Raslanuf. It's all oil there. Mersa Brega is a tiny little village, but it's all oil refineries and oil support facilities because everything out here in this desert is oil fields. All right. Somebody says I need a laser pointer. You were correct. I can use this. Doot, doot, doot. Mersa Brega, Raslanuf,
Get yourself a
Abu
red screwdriver.
Abu oil field. But my point is this. Why would they go up here to this tiny facility at Zuetina and drop off and fire off not one, not two, not three, but 4 drones? These drones are assessed to be not long-range drones. They're assessed to be small, short-range drones. And up to this point, we haven't had an internal, Libyan resistance to Khalifa Haftar, my buddy. That guy, if we ever meet, he will be so pissed. But Khalifa Haftar's government, which is backed by the United Arab Emirates and Egypt. And these were the guys who those 2 countries brought in the Russians, PMC Wagner, before they got their asses kicked and kicked out. So what the fuck? See that? See how the intelligence process works? War, 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 war. What the fuck? Who's hitting Libya and why?
Say what?
And why would you hit Zuetina? Are you practicing? Because if you really wanted to hurt Libya, you would hit the area near close to Benghazi or the port of Tobruk, the port of Benghazi, Benghazi-Tania. We used to jokingly call this place because it is so different from the villages around it. Or you would go out here. You could go to Sirte or Misrata, right? Why are you striking that tiny little oil facility down there? Very interesting.
What?
Notable mentions.
Who controls what?
No, it is important to note here, right? That Libya has many militias that have fought the previous dictator Muammar al-Gaddafi, especially with his famous few words, dar dar bet bet zunga zunga.
Zunga zunga. Dar
That's
dar.
right.
Bet bet. Il zunga zunga.
Zunga zunga.
That's one of my. I thought at one time in life, I shit you not, of having that tattooed on me. It was Muammar Gaddafi made this great speech.
It means house.
Well, actually, it's dar, neighborhood to neighborhood.
Right? Well, I guess it's the Libyan accent. Yeah, dar, neighborhood to neighborhood, bet, house to house.
Right? And then they use this Libyan dialect, crazy ass word for alley, right? And so Gaddafi, that speech got NATO to kick his ass because he was essentially saying, we're going to execute everybody we find. And it was like, okay, there we go. But it was such a hilarious phrase in Arabic. Dar, bet, zonga, zonga.
He also came up with the famous with the last famous word. A few words. He goes, democracy means dimu ala al-karasi, means stay in your seat as a dictator. Dimu ala al-karasi, democracy. You stay in power for dynasties. Exactly.
So before anybody gets off on the whole Benghazi-Tania thing that was going on, I was in Libya during that period in 2011. I used to hang in Benghazi with the Transitional National Council at the Fadil Hotel and met the security guards of Chris of the ambassador. His last name skips me right now. But whatever you do, people, don't go watch that silly ass movie, 13 Hours, The Super Soakers of Benghazi. That is the stupidest fucking movie I've ever seen. I mean, that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. All right. A lot of people lost their lives, but there was a reason shit happened the way it did. And the way they portrayed that in the movie, which came out with the intent to hurt Hillary Clinton. It came out in April of the election year, and half the shit in it is fantasy baseball. They made it look like it was her fault that these guys who were part of the CIA global response team that flew from Tripoli, by the way. Remember how they said, oh, nobody came to help them? What about that 28-man armed unit that flew in from Tripoli? And they expected the laws of time, space, and physics to change because it was Hillary Clinton. So
it was Ambassador Stevens, right?
Yeah, Chris Stevens, yeah. And his radio op. So I knew where the compound was. I knew where the house was. I didn't go there because it had nothing to do with me, and it was not my mission. There were other missions. But all I'm saying is that movie, they made it seem like it was Hillary Clinton's fault that a mortar round, an 82 millimeter mortar round fired indirectly where the soldier couldn't catch it or something was her fault.
Gotta catch it like a football.
It's fucking indirect fire. That's called an act of God when that kills you. So back to the story here again. Let's set aside the whole Benghazi thing. That's a whole special show I could do for you. That's in my memoir about what went on in Benghazi. I was actually on my way to Tripoli airport when the U.S. consulate was attacked out of Abu Dhabi. And then from Tripoli to Benghazi, Tania. But who is attacking Libya and why? That's what all these jokes come down to, right? Serious issue, gentlemen. Middle East desk, Gulf states desk. What do you think? Who's attacking Libya?
But as I was saying, it depends who is the same people that are in control of these different oil facilities.
Who is trying to?
Who's controlling the one that was attacked?
Guys, if fucking Mursa Brega and Ras Lanuf explode in the next week, then I'm going to see that there's clearly people in the oil industry that wants these pipelines offline, wants these there's It'll keep the price of oil up.
There are a few things that come to mind. Anytime prices come down, it hurts many of the countries. Most of the Gulf states are not even able to pass their oil through the strait anyways. What's happening here is that I believe there's a lot of different military factions inside of Libya. And if one faction is in control of one oil facility, it is not a bad way of showing that I can fuck with your economy as much as you have been fucking with my economy. That's one hypothesis I believe is very possible, because the conflict inside Libya is not only between Libyans, is between nations who are fighting a proxy war inside of Libya.
Yeah, but this is not how you would do it. You would do it by going out and wiping out a police checkpoint or something. By hitting that oil facility. First off, gas in Libya is cheap, guys. Also, there's land, the secret land of untouchable, amazing Land Rover Defenders. There are Land Rover Defenders in Libya I'd cut my arm off for, all right? They got a whole slew of those things. But oil and diesel in Libya is relatively cheap. Blowing up the Zuwatina refinery might hurt you in the short run. That you see what they hit were the bunkering facilities, was the oil storage. That just burns up barrels of oil off the facility. You just turn the valves and it cuts off the fire. Why? Because I don't see this as internal. This is just within the scheme of everybody trying to take over all the oil in the goddamn world. It is starting to present a pattern that these outliers are getting very weird, to the point where I never in my whole career ever said, this is an operation, that's an operation. Things are starting to look like there's an operation going on. From maybe, I don't know which country, but there is an operation there.
You see, remember, I don't doubt your theory, because when the war first started, we all were very surprised when the largest oil refinery in Australia got hit. Somehow, we still don't know how and why it got hit. We still don't know the details of that explosion of that oil refinery in the beginning of the war in Australia. But
Oh,
the
well,
but
that
without
knocked out
taking it,
30% of Australia's refining capacity in one morning.
yeah. But not considering factions inside of Libya is basically not considering the weapon that was used to make it happen. Like I'm not saying they are the the mindset that made and studied and decided to make that attack. I'm saying you can pay any faction in Libya to do it for you.
If you're flying drones, somebody's out there wants to get rid of the oil. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, if you want a spectacular fire, go hit a tanker, go hit one of these Turkish, ro-ros that's bringing stuff in Tripoli. It's an anomaly and it's an outlier. And that's why we brought it up in today's
What makes you very
outlier
worried?
section.
There seems like there's more to this that you want to say that you have not said yet.
It's just it's like the Australian refinery fire. Coincidence takes a lot of planning. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Why bring Libya into the fray? Why bring Egypt into the fray? Am I going to have a refinery fucking fire in Algeria next? Or is Morocco's, oil refinery going to blow up off, outside of, I think it's off of Rabat, no, Tangiers, right? I have never seen a refinery in Rabat. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is, okay, I'm going to give you a good example. Where I live in upstate New York, there are a lot of old mansions. And in the late 1980s, a arsonist went around and attempted to destroy every historic mansion in our county. He just got it into his head. I'm going to burn down all these old buildings, right? One of them, he burned it down to the ground, huge 10,000 square foot, giant mansion. And you know what they put up? A triple wide trailer on it. And now it's a trailer park, right? Was it done deliberately or was it part of a series of operations in a campaign? But that guy was nuts. But he managed to burn down a lot of buildings that were converted into, got their insurance money and then converted into trash. So there is no reason on this earthly planet that there should be an explosion at the Zuwaitina refinery. I've been through Zuwaitina. I've seen that tiny little smoke ash refinery that they got down there. It ain't nothing like Mersa Brega and Ras Lanuf. Ras Lanuf, that is Libya's major oil transshipment point. Don't forget, Libya for the first time since 2011 is now a net exporter of oil this year because of the war. Somebody's trying to take that shit offline. So competitors, I don't know. But if I were the Libyans, I'd find out. Or if I was U.S. intelligence, I'd want to know who set fire to that place and why did they use drones? So there you go. That's all I want to say. Outlier.
But
Let's
again,
go to questions.
if the intention was to hurt Libyan oil exports, why would they go after
tiny ass little place?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I always come up with
we don't know.
is
We
training.
have to see.
Training is a good one, right? Practicing your oil refinery approaches. If somebody comes and tells me that it's a fucking Shaheed drone that flew 3,000 kilometers all the way to Libya, I will call bullshit. It's on that. Someone is trying to burn.
Who would say that?
You don't need a lot of bomb to make an explosion like that in an oil facility.
Yeah. No, a small explosive payload, you could put pipe bomb on it and set fire to that. Hey, listen, some clever dick in our Substack chat has put this picture up. A more appropriate location for Trump's victory arch would be in downtown Tehran, flanked by pictures of the Ayatollah Khamenei and the Ayatollah Khamenei victory over the United States.
It actually looks like it fits the Iranian architecture better than DC.
You guys are funny.
Yeah.
Okay, let's answer questions.
But
Jacob,
anyway, drones, those drones could have been launched from anywhere with what we know now, you know.
Yeah, they
so
can. They can be launched from anywhere. That's the point.
the Russians use ships as
However,
platforms all the
target
times in Europe.
based on its impact. You know, I mean, they would have done more damage hitting fucking Bucharest, right, in Romania, than they would hitting Zuetina. Coinkydink. All right. Somebody says, let's go. Questions.
I
So here's the first question. Vaughn Danvers says, this is for you, Jacob. Rachel Maddow reported last night on being pitched on Dr. Phil's Greenland show. She summed it up correctly. Is this an invasion of Greenland by the USA? How far is this disastrous Congress going to allow this criminal president to go? Is this a backward-ass invasion coming in with the economics first by just, you don't need permission, you just fucking do it?
I think the activities we've seen so far, is about dividing Greenland and Denmark. Taking Greenland out of the kingdom of Denmark, because then it would be much easier to get the full control of Greenland. And that's also some of the statements we've seen, by both the company, Greenland Energy, and so on and so on. They're saying, well, then Greenland won't have to rely on Denmark anymore, and they shouldn't be doing that anyway. We'll make them rich and all that bullshit. So, it's quite clear, and also with Jeff Landry's involvement, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, so that is trying to divide Greenland and carve it out of the Kingdom of Denmark.
Okay. Richard P. Morrison asked, Malcolm, tank bottom. It's coming. Any guess as to when? Yesterday, they reported the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was down to 298,000 barrels. Operational bottom is 270,000. So we are just 18 million, or not thousand, million barrels. We are just 18 million barrels away from where they have to make a decision if the armed forces of the United States do not get the fuel that they would need for a major war, and keeping artificially holding up the oil market. That's where we are. And that's another reason why Trump's like, I need the Strait of Hormuz open tomorrow so that he can play it off. What do you think?
You'd think Trump would have improved his relations with Canada at this point so he could secure the Canadian oil that we have already built a pipeline between the United States and Canada. This would have been the moment you would have seen that pipeline been activated through any other previous president to fill the U.S. Reserves again. If you are short on gas and your neighbor has plenty of it, then you connect your gas tank. But unfortunately, Trump wanted to implement tariffs on Canada just because of the fires at the Boundary Water. Like literally, we created we kicked out Native Americans out of their homes to build up the Keystone pipelines. We destroyed many natural waters so we can have that reserve, so we can have that security, so we can have that economic benefit. And at this point is when we would see that being activated so we can go for emergency. But our relationship is shit.
Yeah. Well, it's shit for what reason? Somebody chose it to be shit. Somebody chose this. He chose this. And anybody who voted for him thinks there's a lot of people out there who just thinks this is the greatest thing, whatever, right? All right. Euclid says, good morning. How are the U.S. Navy personnel faring? Their families and friends are seriously worried about them. They should be worried about them. As a chief, I never really got to the point where I had people really bitching about the Navy to where they were really upset. But every once in a while, we used to say amongst the chiefs, because we're the people who watch the average sailor do what he does. When we would start seeing graffiti in the men's toilet that said FTN, that is an old Navy phrase back from when you were conscripted, right? Joined the Navy, didn't like it, FTN, fuck the Navy, right? When my brother joined the Navy in the late 1970s, and they would, if you were caught smoking marijuana on a ship, they would give you a letter of counseling, right? They couldn't afford to let you go out of the Navy. They wouldn't kick you out. But FTN was written everywhere on one ship I visited, right? I'd walk down the passageways, FTN in a marker on an asbestos lining of a pipe, go to the toilet, FTN on all the backs of the doors. We're not seeing that yet. I think they're very upset over the length of the deployment. But let me tell you, when the Abraham Lincoln comes off, this is another thing. Has anyone noticed that they haven't sent a replacement carrier? They're just toys to them. They're just toys. They don't care if those guys they're sailors, they're tough guys, they can take it. Y'all
They're
ain't
warriors.
never been on it.
They're
Warriors, Jesus. Yeah, they're great people, but they're great people who really could do with a port visit if you don't want to give them a port visit to Marseille, right? Send their asses to Haifa. That's a great port visit town. But you got to come off station from the war. And since we keep pushing this in war over and over, they're not going anywhere. And they won't take them to Mumbai. Mm-mm-mm. They brought him to Salalah, Oman, and that place got bombarded immediately. So they're going to have to do something about it because those poor sailors, they need a break. We are going to talk about Sudan tomorrow. Somebody asked about Sudan. More questions about the Abraham Lincoln. I answered that. I listened to the podcast FBI Case Review with Jerry Williams, who interviews retired FBI agents. Her newest episode is about Adam Gaddam, Abu Yahya al-Amriki, right? The agent who befriended his family in order to track him down. That guy, he earned his JDAM. I'm telling you, that guy got vaporized when they hit him. They didn't just kill him. They wrecked him, as they say. All right. Would the attack on Libya from Mike Crozier be a signal to bring in whatever militias are in that country to join the fight against Israel and Lebanon? No. Libya is all about the control between two competing authorities. The Tripoli recognized government, which is backed by Turkey and NATO, and the Western government of Khalifa Haftar, which is backed by the United Arab Emirates and Egypt. And oil. And everything. Oh, by the way, everything south of that coast has reverted back to tribal. If you're not the fucking tribes of Kufra, Jufra, or what's that place in the west? Sabha.
Something similar, not the same thing. Something similar to that was happening in Sudan, proxies and otherwise, but it's not the same story.
Yeah. So if you're not down there, you ain't tribal. The tribes own that part of Libya now, and you better come with an invitation that's engraved. Although the United Arab Emirates is down in Jalut, reportedly training Sudanese RSF fighters to go into Sudan to fight the central government. Sudan, we need to do a show on that. That's a crazy situation. I remember one of the first reasons that it started. Emiratis wanted to go to Southwest Sudan, which was untouched, untamed territory.
What do you define as the start?
As the start?
They've been fighting. They've been fighting since forever.
It turns out I have a request for proposal response to a Emirati contract company from 2012 about providing armed security in Southwest Sudan. And you know what it was for? Hunting. The Emiratis love pure, pristine places where they can go shoot tigers and emus or whatever. That was the reason.
Tigers in Africa, mate.
There's a reason big cats have gone extinct in Arabia.
Don't tell them that. Okay? Shh. They think it's happening down there. They would rather do a genocide to overthrow the sub-Saharan African population to go down there and shoot. And it was a big thing to go down there because in South Sudan, and they were the place they wanted to operate out of was northwest of Juba. It's just if you don't even go there, there's nothing there, right? Except pure pristine hunting. This is why Emiratis and Qataris were friendly with Afghanistan and the Taliban. They would go on hunting safaris up there all the time. They love shooting, guys. This is not a joke. Somebody says save the oryx. If they had a chance to kill an oryx, they'd be all over it. All right, guys, that's enough questions for today. Thank you for coming to this episode of Black Man Spy. We went through a whole myriad of things. Please keep Zuetina deep in your hearts because, like I said, if Raslanov or Misrata or some other place bursts into flames, then we know something's going on. So thank you, guys. We will see you tomorrow, if possible.
See you tomorrow.
Take care. If you're watching this on YouTube, you missed it. Come to follow, like, and subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're on here and you're a Substack subscriber, go to YouTube and follow on YouTube because we're trying to get to 250,000 followers.
And become a paid subscriber.
And become a paid subscriber so Wajeeh can be an American citizen, y'all, and that he can get arrested legally or illegally as opposed to illegally by the ICE guys now. So let's help a brother out. All right. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.